Hello, and welcome to another episode of SkyrimPlus. Today I'm featuring the Nook by Cursedobjects. That's the same mod author that created Astrum Chateau, which appeared on my top 10 homes of 2024, so if you haven't seen that home, check it out. Usually, we would start the episode with a map view, but since this home is conveniently located within the walls of Windhelm, we'll just head right to the Grey Quarter. And across from Sadri's used wares, you'll find the home and the sailboard. The home cost 5,000 septims, which is a bargain, and when you confirm your purchase, you'll have the deed and key deposited into your inventory. When you head inside for the first time, there isn't any furniture, so you'll need to head to the right and use the anvil to construct the furniture and crafting stations. And now that we're done with our renovation, let's turn back towards the front door and take a look around. To the left of the front door, you have your sink, your dishes, and containers for salt, sugar, and flour. Here's a cozy fire with your cooking pot and a rack with harvestable ingredients above. There's a meat barrel in the corner, and here's a stove for additional cooking options. You have display cases above that, and food storage on the cabinet. Near the stairs is a weapons rack for 3 and a cool painting. If you're wondering, this is a 3-level home. There's a dining table for 3. And now we'll look back towards the front door again, where we have a weapons rack, a cute lantern and key rack, and a butter churn. Here are some custom cabinets with see-through glass, and above this food prep area is a window. It's letting in some great natural light. And just past this cabinet, we find 5 fertile soils where you can plant whatever you want. On the back wall, we find statues and paintings for Boethiah, Azura, and Mephala, and a custom bookshelf, tea kettle, and a Solstheim-themed banner. And as we turn back, we find a couple of Dunmer-themed chairs, a nice tapestry, and a unique table and lamp. And now that we've seen everything on this level, let's head upstairs. And while we do, smash that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. On the top floor, we find our bedroom. If you like this bed, it's called Redoran Reverie by Sotha Simp. I'll link it in my pinned comment. You also have some plants in front of your bed, dark elf themed lanterns, tall mushrooms and planters, a weapons rack for 5 mounted display cases, and 5 shield plaques along the wall. If you like these display cases that I'm using, I'll link those too. On the other side of the bed, we find more of those tall mushrooms, a trash can for your junk, another weapon plaque and interesting static decor, and here are several bookshelves for the scholars of Skyrim. After all, Nook rhymes with book. There's another mannequin, a cool painting, a couple of dressers, and some wardrobes with more eye candy decor. There's another spot for key storage, and then there's a custom wardrobe on the left. The dresser's topped with a flower pot and with copies of the Mythic Dawn commentaries. That's quite the contrast. And spoiler alert, we have a suspicious dresser, and when you move the false back panel, it reveals a trophy room for spots to display some of the game's collectible items. On the back wall, you have spots for the Daedric items, like the Skull of Corruption, the Mace of Molag Bal, and more. Next, you'll find the Dragon Claws, and many of the Thieves Guild quest items. And then we find the Paragons, Black Books, and Insects in a Jar. There's a spot for the 3 Elder Scrolls. On the other side of the door, you'll find more Thieves Guild quest items, and then we finish off the space with displays for all of the Dragon Priest masks. If you guys have seen enough of my content, you'll know that I appreciate a great trophy room, but now that we've seen everything that this level has to offer, we're going to head to the basement where we find lots of crafting options. Along the front wall, we find an arcane enchanter with named storage for potions and ingredients, an alchemy lab and named storage for soul gems and scrolls, our spider imbuing chamber with a periodic table above, Mendeleev would approve, and then we find our staff enchanter and named storage for recipes. Next to that, we find a candlelit shrine area for Boethiah, Azura, and Mephala with some dark elf lanterns and some ash yams. And as we look under the stairs, we find a spare bed for a follower, and they have their own little tiny dark elf lantern. And as we walk behind this banner, we find a bathroom. It has a shower with continuously running water. Here's some soap and some towels. And then as we turn, we find a mirror, a sink, some perfume, soap, and you even have a trash bin right next to the sink. And although we don't have a toilet in that area, we do have this outhouse. When we open the door, we find a full roll of toilet paper, and you have this motorized fan. The Dwemer must have gotten tired of smelling those Dunmer dumps. But what a great feature for us! And then in the back of the basement, we find our full smithing suite, with our smelter, grindstone, anvil, tanning rack, and workbench. We also have some themed artwork, a Nordic ruin-style oil lantern, and named storage for all of your smithing items. This weapons rack is named storage for your one-handed and two-handed weapons and staves, and then you have another wonderful painting. I love artwork in my homes, but now that we've seen all of the features of this home, it's time for final thoughts. The Nook is an attractive city apartment in the Grey Quarter of Windhelm. It costs 5,000 septims, and it's a build-your-own home, so you'll need to use the anvil to construct all of the rooms. It offers a double bed for you and your spouse, a spare bed in the basement for a follower, 5 fertile soils to plant whatever you want, a cooking pot and oven, as well as a butter churn for your cooking needs. And it includes uncommon amenities like a shower to keep clean and this outhouse with a fan to air out the smell. Its custom cabinets and furniture breathe new life into the game. And it includes this stylish candlelit shrine to Boethiah, Azura, and Mephala, a full smithing suite, an alchemy lab and arcane enchanter, a staff enchanter and spider imbuing chamber, and a secret trophy room to display the memories of a lifetime of hard work and achievement. This apartment proves that you don't have to have a massive mansion to feel at home. It's a great space and definitely worth adding to your load order. This concludes my feature of the Nook. If you enjoyed this content and want to see more, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Click the bell icon if you want to be notified of when I post, and as always, thanks for watching. I'll catch you on the next episode.